Right. So what we'd like to be able to do, just like we exported this set of RESTful, well, not just these are not RESTful, right? These are just some URLs that we can hit and retrieve some data from. We would like to be able to to expose a data model, right? Presumably a data model that we would be getting from a database, but we don't have a database just yet. Instead, we can create here a mock set of data that we can use for now, right? And use that for now, and then when we have a database, we'll actually retrieve it from a database. Since these are services that are exposing a data model, it is usually a good practice to create a directory and put all these services that are exposing any data to put it under a particular directory and call it services for whatever for what it is. In this particular case, we might, for instance, might have multiple services, maybe a widget, service, server.js, right? Maybe it maybe have a service file for each one of the different entities, right? We might have a service that exposes a data model for courses, one that exposes for modules, very much like what we did in Java, right? In Java, we had each one of the controllers expose different data models, right? So similar way here. So you would have multiple services here exposing different data models. Notice the naming convention that I'm following: widget.service.server.js. I start with the feature, right, or the type of the data type that I'm exposing, right? In this case, it's widgets. Then service kind of tells me the role of this file, right, in this project, right? What its responsibility, right? Its concern, right, is to expose a service or web service. And then server kind of tells me that this is a service that is running on a server, as opposed to as a service that might be running on a client. Right? Remember that last week we created a service, but in the Angular side. Remember that, right? As a means of managing all the data, right? In the client-side application, we encapsulated all data manipulation in a service on the client side, right? So oftentimes we want to be able to differentiate whether this is running on one side or the other, because they're both written in JavaScript, and so it might not be clear, right? Is this get trying to go fetch data, or is it serving data, right? So server, because it says server, immediately it's in my mind, says, oh yes, this is on the server side, right? Anyway, so in here we might have things such as functions that allow you to retrieve things like this. So you probably have a module.exports and another function, right? Very much like we implemented the first one, that receives app as an argument. And then in here you might have multiple requests, right? You might be retrieving API, give me all the widgets, right? You might have here app.get retrieve for me a single widget if I know the API of a particular widget, right? You might be creating a brand new widget. This might be a post, right? Creating a brand new widget. You might be updating a widget if you know the ID of the widgets, or you might be deleting a widget, right? So very much like we saw in Java, here you can also, right, declare all the different CRUD operations, all the different types of HTTP methods that we implemented in Java are available here as well, right? Notice that they're a little bit less verbose, right? If you want to create a response to an incoming get, it's just app.get. Right? If you want to respond to an incoming post, it's just app.post. Right? To a put is .put and delete is .delete. Make sense? Right? Other than that, the URL is the same. Right? The functions would be implemented here, right? And a very common way to implement this is through using anonymous functions. Anonymous functions like we're doing here, request.response, okay, and do your work here. I think this this syntax is fairly hard to read. All right, so I would much prefer this function to be a full function. And so I'm going to move it out of here. I'm going to cut this out of here and declare it as an actual function and say that this is a find all widgets or something. Find all widgets. Okay, and then find all widgets can be referenced from here. I think this is so much more readable. Right, this is so much more readable. And so you would provide also functions here. So this would be function find widgets by ID, request response, and then make it available through here. Right, and this might be create widget. This might be update widget, and this might be delete widget. Okay, with each one of these functions declared up here. So function create widget and update widget and delete widget. Oops. Right, all taken as argument request response. So this file basically plays the same role as our controller, right? As our REST controllers, right? Which is to do the conversion between two worlds, right? The HTTP world, right, and the code world, right? The object-oriented world. Right? So the RESTful controller implemented in Java did just that, right? It mapped incoming the stream world of HTTP and it converted it into the object world of Java. This is doing the same thing, right? It's converting the stream world of HTTP, the same world that we've been using to send data, right? And convert it into the JSON world, right? Into the JavaScript world. So the same role, just different syntax, just implemented slightly different. Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, we'll use ES6 from now on. Yep. Well, it depends which node version you have. What version do I have? Wait. List. I never forget the. LS. There we go. Oh, I have. I'm currently using 6, so let me update it to 10. Okay, now we can use ES6. Yeah. Yeah. So this is basically the same thing that we implemented, a couple weeks ago, right? We've been using Java as RESTful controllers. This is the same idea here. Everybody good? All right. So let's create at least this one over here, right? I think I have a slide on that, so we don't have to copy this. So what we'll do here is that we'll declare a couple of okay. So these were websites. All right, I'll create some widgets here. I thought I had widgets somewhere. Widget. Oh, there we go. I think I have some widgets here. No. Did I have widgets? There we go. So let's copy these widgets, and let's declare it in a separate file. Maybe here, and say create it in a new directory here. We'll call it data, and under data we'll create a file called widget.mock.json, and we can declare here a JSON file. and we'll need to make it a proper JSON file. Notice it's complaining that this is not a proper JSON file. So I'm going to ID. I'm going to do an underscore ID. Replace all. Type. Type. We'll change it to type. Replace all. Size. Same thing. Replace all and text. Replace all, there we go, and anywhere there's a single quote, we'll change for a double quote. There we go. I think now we have a proper JSON file with 4 widgets, right? Hello world widget, heading, 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 and heading 3, heading 4, and heading 5. Okay? Yeah, so we have a proper JSON file. So there, here in the widget service, we can import it. You can say const widgets. You can say require, and then go up 1, down to data, and then down to widget mock. There we go. So now widgets has that file, and from find all widgets, we can then now respond and send back the widgets. Okay, so let's restart. Stop and rerun. And so that's mapped to what? It's mapped to API/widgets. So this is API widgets. Why is that not working? Oh, yeah. We declared it, but no one's actually requiring it, right? And nobody's actually passing any app here, right? So let's go to a server and actually require it, right? Of course, we'll say var. We can say var or const widget service require, and say go down to services, and then go down to widget service. Right, and then we can call it widget service and then pass app. Right, so if we restart, let's try it again. There we go. Right, so we have our widgets here. Yes, right. Notice that beyond this, you can hit this with React, right? Or you can hit it with the Angular client that we were playing around with last week. Right, you can certainly hit this, right, and just do the rendering. Okay. Right. Another thing before we go on, oftentimes, if this widget service you're going to be using it for someone else, maybe you want to pass it around to someone who needs this. If nobody needs this, there's really no point in declaring it as a local variable. Mm-hmm. So this over here can just become that. Right, requiring it and then just calling it right away with whatever argument you want it, right, without needing to declare it in a local variable, right? It's just the same. Everybody good? Okay.